The blowtorch case didn't go as I'd hoped. Instead of the savior, I found myself impersonating the damsel in distress. Luckily, Burton came just in time to get me out of the doghouse. In contrast to his usual MO, Blowtorch was about to take my head off with his bare hands. The signs on my neck would take weeks to disappear completely. I got suspended from the service indefinitely, obviously, and I would soon discover that sitting on my hands would never be a part of my life again. I found the Miami Harbinger under my door, as I had every day since I'd subscribed to their delivery service. I immediately saw the blurb on the front page. Blowtorch had been identified as David Ramos, an ordinary man who made a living working as a plumber. The initials, the plumbing job, everything matched the information found in the letters. That crazy guy had given us, little by little, his complete identikit. The leading story dealt with the disappearance of a young girl, the daughter of a certain Mulzberg. Apparently, he was one of the richest and most powerful men in the city. Nevertheless, I had never heard of him before. The journalist was doubting the real disappearance of the teenager, assuming she was a runaway instead. I wonder what clues she could have had that led to such speculation. Despite Burton's timely intervention, Ramos was able to disappear into the night and not get caught. At least now the public knew his real identity. A man would struggle to move freely. The envelope sticking out didn't have a normal appearance. A cold shiver passed down my spine. Had I just received yet another letter from Blowtorch? I immediately noticed the strange seal with which it had been secured, but I would think about that later. With a trembling hand, I set out to pull out the letter. On the paper was an address and a series of meaningless numbers. Nothing else. Ramos was giving me an appointment in a West Miami alley, but that wasn't the most absurd thing. The most absurd thing is that I'd probably have gone. So Ramos was back after just a few hours on the run, ready to pick up our challenge where it left off. In the meantime, the Miami Harbinger was publishing news about the disappearance of the Mulzberg scion that occurred the night before. What if she was the victim chosen by Blowtorch? I should seek out more information. The morning news was being aired right then. Maybe there was still time to catch the final minutes of it. That TV had every possible function, including toasting bread, but not a bloody damn power button. I needed the remote control if I wanted to turn it on. What the hell was my remote control doing in there? The TV didn't turn on. The batteries were probably dead, and the closest retailer was half an hour away by foot. Damn batteries. There must be some way to give you even a little boost. He kept the device thermostat held in position. Removing it would drop the temperature as low as it could go. But, alright, I rarely ate the junk food in my fridge anyway. Inside that fridge, there wasn't even misery left. In that moment, it didn't... My mini fridge. Spacious enough. The cell phone was inside the nightstand, comfortably resting in the underwear drawer. When I bent down to pick it up, I found myself looking at my parents' photograph. Mom and Dad, on holidays in Greece during their honeymoon. Dad with his typical sly look, Mom with an unlikely 80s rock star hairstyle. We always used to make fun of her for that juvenile look. How long had it been since I left Italy? And them. Looking at that photo always left me with a sour taste in my mouth, but that wasn't the right time to get lost in memories. I had a cell phone to retrieve and an investigation to continue. The night before, I'd even been able to deactivate that paid weather service. I could finally use the phone to do what it was designed for, making phone calls. Maybe, or maybe not. I didn't understand how that...
Better think about it.
The last time I made up my bed, America was still at war with Great Britain. I kept Bobby, my stuffed bear, underneath. He protected me from my nightmares. It represented the Sacred Heart of Jesus, a Christian symbol of worship. My grandma insisted that I take it with me to America for protection, but to be honest, I always found it, slightly gruesome. With blood and sweat, I had completed that collection of action figures when I was a kid. After Green Dart, it was my biggest triumph. With blood and sweat, I had nothing to hang at the moment, and there was nothing interesting among the items already posted. Claudio, the owner of the bar where I worked many years before. Sitting at the piano was his wife. Della tried many times to teach me to strum, but with very bad results. I didn't want anything from the bar. I barely drank, especially when I was working on a case. Before joining the detective bureau, I made a living working at a bar. How many friends did I make in those years? How much fun did I have? Bobby was down there for a reason, to protect me from nightmares. I'd remove it only in case of extreme need. Bobby the bear, protector of my dreams. Lately he'd been slacking off, judging by the number of nightmares tormenting me. Bobby the bear, protector of... Lately he'd been... I read somewhere once that a dead battery could regain a small amount of energy in an extremely cold environment. Could it be true, this story of batteries recharging in the cold? Hey, maybe that's what igloos are. Huge batteries shaped like houses. Oh, that would explain why Eskimos wear gloves, to prevent electric shocks. It was time to discover if my limited physics knowledge would help me or not.
The house of famous tycoon Kathrin Mulzberg, where an attempted break-in was reported last night. No statement has been released either from the police or the family, so the specifics of the offense are still shrouded in mystery. The only detail that has been leaked so far is some strange graffiti drawn on the front of the mansion, probably left by the same individual or group that attempted the late-night illegal entry. As you can see behind me, the symbol appears to have been applied using an enormous quantity of blood, perhaps of a human nature. We await confirmation on the origin of the liquid, with hopes that it isn't the blood of young Kathrin Mulzberg. Stay tuned to this network for further developments. From Gwendolyn Pratt, back to you in the newsroom.
That symbol on the wall. I saw it even before that swine of a hack opened her mouth. It was identical to the seal on the letter I had just received. I had no doubt anymore. Blowtorch was pulling out all the stops to finish our challenge in style. I toyed with the idea of contacting Burton to bring him up to speed on the situation, but I scrapped that thought. If I could close the case myself, my superiors would be forced to reinstate me into the department. Was it really worth the risk of falling straight into a trap? Or was I kidding? I was never the kind of man to back down from a challenge, no matter how dangerous it may be. It was high time to let the world see what I was worth. I wouldn't be remembered as the detective that let one of the worst serial killers in the history of Miami slip away. The thing to do next was retrieve Green Dart, just in case I needed to race off in pursuit of Ramos. My beloved bike had been left at the HPD the night before. To recover it, a long walk awaited me. Hey Richie, how's it going?
Hello, Lazarus.
Richard, we've been neighbors for 5 years now. What do you think about finally calling me Lars?
I like the sound of Lazarus.
There's something magnetic about it, don't you think?
Speaking of magnetism, do you still have that magnet I loaned you?
Yeah, well, it's complicated.
What do you mean by complicated? You didn't lose it, did you?
No, not lost, no. I used it in a secret mission.
My magnet. In a secret mission.
Very, very secret. So secret I can't tell you anything about it.
Well, do me a favor and get it back to me as soon as possible. It's a fond family memory.
And that's what it would remain for poor Richard. A memory. Any good news in the mailbox?
Once you could find love letters inside. Now it's just bills and a mountain of advertising. Do you even read the advertisements they send you?
No, I just use it to ignite the coal at the barbecues with my colleagues. See you soon, Richie.
Sure, at next Sunday's residents meeting. You'll come, right?
I have a previously scheduled engagement.
Sorry, did I say Sunday? I meant Saturday.
Even worse, I have to attend a funeral.
Oh, too bad. Then my condolences.
The only one who'd die would be me if I went to another one of those stupid meetings. Of boredom. Richard, one of my neighbors. A nice guy. We've always got each other's backs during the residents' meetings. Richard, one of my... A nice guy. Richard, one of my... A nice... For months I kept asking and asking Miss Joyce to repair that hole. Sooner or later I would fall through it again. I was sure I would find only bills and late payment warnings. Sometimes it's better not to know, so I didn't open it. The Parmesan had been dangling from the ceiling for years, and by now, it had reached a very strong seasoning. I used to prepare a trap for a rat that was haunting the attic. I almost managed to grab it when the floor decided to collapse underneath my feet. And what's worse, I disastrously landed on the floor beneath, causing that huge hole. Moral of the story? The Parmesan was still hanging from those wires, and I had started to hate rats.